All right, all right, all right. Back again. Back again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Yes, yes. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the love. We are back again. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate the love. You're too kind. No, back again for another installment episode edition of the Chief and Go. I'm your host, Chiefy Dog. Let me start it again. I'm your host, Lord Chief, Chiefy Dog, Chief Rocker, Chief Dizzle for Shizzle for Sheezy for Show. You understand the cheat code? Rockadamus, Chief Rocker, Chief Rockaware, Mr. Chief, keep it brief. All of the above. That's me. And I'm back again. And the claps won't stop. Oh God, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Come on, guys, we got to get this thing started now. People got places to go and people to see. Okay? Okay? But really, y'all, we back for another episode. This one is gonna be a good one. I already know, right? Today's guest, how can you describe him? The enigmatic, right, guy, Solly Williams, who most folks know as E from Optribe, a guy that's been around for a long time, and I got some stories to prove it coming up in my journey. But yeah, this is gonna be a good one. We got Solly Williams from Optribe. You know him from leading that crank era in the 90s. You know him from leading that Lissen crank, being the front man for that and bringing that crank to you, even though there's a lot more in between that. You know him from hosting on Metro World back in the day, the Metro World TV that we all love to come home and watch on cable access. Next thing I hear, he's on the radio with Donnie Simpson morning show, right? So this guy's travels is crazy. Then next thing I know, he in Charlotte doing radio, managing Earth, Wind, and Fire. He's the road manager. I'm just getting this information coming back to me. Like, yeah, E doing this. This guy, man, the multi-talented, the polymath, huh? The polymath, the Renaissance polymath, Solly Williams, right? Kicked cancer's ass twice. And now he's working with the kids and having a media program over at Deanwood Rec, which I think I saw them winning awards, and I think he's, making a great impact over there. So just this guy is, multifaceted, amazing individual. So I'm going to bring him on the Chief and Go, and I can't wait for this crank convo.
What up, bro? Hey, that was good, bro. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, just want to make sure. No, I got the headphones on.
Yeah, okay. I was looking for my earpods, but I waited a little too late. But man, I appreciate you coming through, man, for sure.
Man, thank you, man. I mean, I don't get invited to podcasts a lot, so hey. Who am I to say no at this point?
Yeah, and well, whatever. I mean, I'm not agreeing with that. I look, I could dig. I'm not invited either.
Okay.
Start my own, but I actually did an interview earlier for a guy. Man, this is gonna come out real good. Not of the culture necessarily, but it was really good. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people say, man, I like watching your joint, your approach, your question is different and things like that. Really, when I might jot down a couple notes, but most of the people I'm talking to, I know their history. It's things I want to know further about them, and it's things that I know about them that's great that I want to highlight to the people. And so that's kind of how I'm looking at, setting up the guests now. And
I like that.
Like, you fall into that. I understand all that. So I already know I understand all that. So, but look, I think you're one of the greatest guests. I was like, why ain't call E?
Well, I think I'm one of the greatest guests too.
When I be forgetting, like people like, damn, I should
talk. I get it.
I'm doing it all by myself. But not like that. But like, damn, this would be a great guest. Just your energy and personality, first and foremost.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I just want to start by saying this. I was coming down. I was at So this 93, 94 Metro World is playing. And like I said, we love that. Hey, let me tap into the chat, man, because we gotta show them love. Joey, Big Joey in here. Ty,
Hucklebuck Joey?
nah, Joey, Big Joey. That's little
Okay.
Joey, Big Joey guitar. Joseph
That's
Dink.
I already know you talking about my guy.
Yeah, the other Joey.
Right.
Ty from Hugglebucks.
Ty, what up?
The first talker, Gabby in here, Gabby Mo, DeCarlos, Los in here. Appreciate y'all tuning in. So, and I'm trying to learn how to lay back and not over talk. I think I got something off at times because we both are the culture, but and that that delay be a problem too. But I just wanted to just tell the people the story. I've been watching Metro World, and so this before. Maybe before the Hucklebucks, we had potential band. Like I think I'm playing at this time, or coming close to it. I got some drums in the basement, and I'm like, oh, when I go to the Metro station at Rhode Island, of course, and you coming down, that's the dude from TV. I never told you that story. No, I'm like that. Oh, I might have, but look, I said that's E. Like, damn, that's the dude I be seeing on Metro World. It was like a big deal to me. You know what I'm saying? At that time. Because I think y'all stayed on there in the early days a lot because y'all was killing it. But anyway, then the second time, I think, I ain't say nothing to you that day. And then now maybe we done did Malcolm X Day or something. And I was riding by, that day.
You was riding by, and you pulled over.
Pull over. And that's what took me in. I can't show me. I didn't know no rudiments. I can't show me paradiddles and double strokes and single strokes. And Lil Bruh. I forget Lil Bruh name. But they all everybody on the chat just making me feel bad. Like I want to go home. I want to go home. So back in them days, I found out about Ignatius, and so that's when we kind of met. I met I Can through you, and Optimistic Tribe, that whole thing.
Right.
But that was like I just wanted to intro it with that. But
would you like to know a fun fact? Would you like to know a fun fact?
I sure would.
I tried out for the Hucklebucks and didn't make it.
Oh, I know this fun fact because you wouldn't let us forget it, but we can tell the people.
Yeah. I actually
don't know why, because it's true.
So I tried out. Brian B-Man had brung me. At that time, Charlie was about to start a band, and Rio was starting the band. But because it was Brian and Brian was my idol, I went. I did really good. Charlie liked me, Roy liked me, and then Miss Fenwick came in and said, you really good. She said, you really good. It was really, went to the whole joint. But she said, I have to be honest with you. You don't have the look that we're looking for in the Hucklebucks. But I don't want you, like she kind of told me that. She said, you did, And that was one of them things that I kind of never forgot, as a young person. Obviously years later when I saw what the Hucklebucks end up becoming, I kind of got a visual, but that really stuck with me, bro, for a long time.
Did it become Fuel?
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Yeah.
And so
my God.
I got a segment that I try to do sometimes. I'm trying to do my format, but it's called Out of Pocket. And I was going to do that later. But that might have been your out of pocket moment. We could do another one.
On this go-go, we got plenty. I didn't know if you knew that or that.
No, because when you just said it, it refreshed that it was her. And that makes all the sense in the world. Mm-hmm. Because I even feel like Mr. Fenwick would have looked through the cable, say, man, he's more than capable. We could dress this up however we feel like, it ain't, like Biggie Smalls, right?
Right.
We can make it like, it's going to be what it is. Jill Scott, where they had Erica in the beginning, and then she, you know what I'm saying? But
right.
Oh,
no.
So,
sure.
But her, I'm just going to say Miss Fenwick, Leora Fenwick, love you. Mm-hmm. She is something else. She done kicked Biz Markie off the stage.
No, we're cool.
She come in that joint.
No, let me tell you something. She's really cool. She helped me look for a house before. We ended up becoming, really cool.
With the real estate side?
Yeah, and I will say this. So I tried out for that band 1 month. The next month it was Rio band. I didn't make neither one of them. But years later, what I respected about Rio was he came to me and said, hey, man, that was a mistake for me not putting you in the band. Yeah, he actually came to me on some, man, you know what? I should have did it. Now, the Charlie and Roy didn't say it. They never said it because I guess they respected the Fenwick, but I respected Rio a lot because Rio came to me and said, He came back to me and said that was a mistake. I should have put you in the band. I
Once
should
he
have made
saw,
the band around. Yeah.
once he saw, what was the name of that band?
For Rio band, it was gonna be called the Metro Boys. We actually recorded songs and everything, but what happened was, man, and rest in peace. You remember the keyboard player Teddy Theodore, Big Teddy? He passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think he wanted his homies. He kind of he was the he was the keyboard player, like the music director. Yeah, he was the MD, and it was a DC. I don't want to say it was a DC Maryland thing. You don't want to say that, but I don't think I was. I don't think I was his cup of. You know what I mean? I didn't think he was his cup of tea. He had a Bugs run all over the stage. Uptown was kind of coming in, but I will say Rio actually came to me and said it was an actual mistake. I should have put you in the band.
Yeah, I kind of remember that name floating around, and I definitely know Teddy.
We did like 4 songs. Yeah, no, like we actually did songs and everything. Like we recorded. Wow. We actually recorded the EP. I thought it was really good. And can you imagine that? And you in high school, and it's before internet. You telling everybody, I just recorded the Go-Go album with Rio. Yep. I just recorded the Go-Go album with Rio, and then it never comes out.
Man, that'd be the worst.
Yeah.
Just like actors when I got a part, and you don't know how they edited you, and you get people to come to the theater, and you're in there for 2 seconds. Where was you at? Man, you got me up here, but
no balls.
Just so people know, and a lot of people in the community know, but Charlie and Rio were like the pillars of go-go music for pretty much the whole time, and they were together in the beginning with Future Records. If you look at some of your old records, they were together, and from what Charlie told me, they had a lot of influence on Daryl Brooks to do Go-Go Live, right? So he was bringing Salt and Pepper. He was working with Heavy D and a lot of those acts at the time, right? And Charlie was like, they did one of them shows, and Charlie and Back School Boogies and some of that. And Charlie was like, look, him and Rio was like, we got a system. We could come in there and we could get 20,000 kids to come see Go-Go. He said Daryl Brooks was like, man, y'all would never do that. That ain't, man, look, we got the system, basically. That's how I remember the story. Charlie was like, look, we got, we can make it happen. And yeah, he just told me that like the last time I talked to him. I was like, damn.
Well, I will say that they end up not liking each other for years. So whatever happened, they became bitter rivals. Like, you know what I mean? Because I've heard both of them say stuff about the other person.
Yeah. So. Oh yeah, when we was coming up, it wasn't good. It was like, but now when his name come up, he not salty.
But for a long time, if you said
face,
but
for the, you're in the dark a little bit, but
okay, hold on, let me
if you can,
no, for sure,
because we try and be tip top. We gotta make sure we are competing with Serious Vibe.
Okay, is that better or no?
That's a joke. Not really, but it's okay. Oh, that's
Hold
better.
on.
That's better right there. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
Optribe, baby.
Okay. I'm gonna make sure I got it. Okay, is this better now? If I keep
for sure. Until you gotta pick that back up. Nah, but for real, like I know what you're talking about. That's what I'm saying. But now, like I said, Charlie, Rio wrote a book. Oh yeah, it don't be like salt. So, but I'm just saying, like, I just be learning a lot about the history, and I just want to share it. So,
is this better now?
You told me something new, like, wow.
Is this better now?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely better. So, let's go rewind a little bit. What was the spark? I only be having a couple questions. That be one. What sparked you in the music in your household? What age? Was it record? Your auntie was playing? Was mom's playing it? Musicians in the house?
So, fun fact, my mother was a choir director, and my father did jazz music per se because he was in the Army, and he played saxophone. So, when the time I came around, it was all low, but, they still played it. And then I had 2 older brothers in the house. Now, the interesting thing about this was one was a diehard Parliament fan, and the other one was a diehard Earth, Wind & Fire fan. So music was always around me. You know what I mean? What up? So just in general, I do come from a musical family, and 5 doors up the street from me, Butch Lewis, who was one of the first drummers for EU, and then with Lil Benny, he lived on my block. So it was like music around me. And growing up in DC at that time in the 80s when PA tapes was booming and all that, you kind of could not you kind of couldn't get away from it. So just the environment that I was in, but I definitely fell in love with it early. Like it was, sometimes people say I didn't choose it, it chose me. It definitely chose me. And I was really infatuated with it and only wanted to do that. Like in my life, I only wanted to do go-go and I wanted to do radio. But what happened was the Junkyard Band had a summer youth job teaching go-go music in my neighborhood. And I ended up going down there with them. And Bruce was one of my counselors before as well. And it just kind of sparked. But just in general, it was just around me, from a household, my mother being a choir director, my father kind of, listening. My father listened to big band music a lot. So if anybody know the history of go-go, a lot of what Chuck Brown did in the beginning, it was big band swing, Louis Jordan, Duke Ellington. So, very swingy, so it kind of made sense because to me, Chuck Brown was just nothing but in the beginning, a percussion version of swing. So it kind of that's kind of like how it happened for me.
Nice. So, and this is the Northeast.
Yeah. So I grew up right around McKinley Tech. I would say about 2 blocks away from me, Hot Sauce and Mike from Backyard, Bruce, Chucky Thompson actually lived in my neighborhood. I remember him as a kid being on his porch playing the trombone with sheet music. So I had a lot of people kind of in my neighborhood that was kind of like what you could say. But what really started was one day Butch Lewis had Little Benny on his porch. And, I can remember meeting Little Benny as a kid. Like I was really starstruck. And so that's kind of like, it was just around me. And back in them days, everybody in Northeast or just in the DMV in general, in DC for sure, everybody had a go-go band or was trying to have a go-go band. Also, the Peacemakers were from my neighborhood as well. Hot Sauce brother played in Peacemaker. Hot Sauce got an older brother named Mike that played guitar. So like I can remember the Peacemakers playing block parties. So it's kind of like how it happened.
All right, and this is what probably early preteens, and I guess
elementary school. This is elementary school.
This is still elementary.
Oh, it's 100%. Oh, it's elementary school.
Okay.
Oh, this is way early.
Okay, so I mean, I guess we can fast forward unless there's anything impactful that happened between now from that time and the night. This. Oh, go ahead.
No, I will say the most impactful thing at that time, which I don't know if a lot of people remember, WOL used to play go-go music at night. It was Conan and it was JJ Star and JJ Star. And this was when that Little Benny Let Me Show You the Way album had first came out. And that album kind of changed me a lot. It sparked me to want to do something. Because of that Little Benny album and because of WOL playing go-go at night, I just became infatuated with it.
Right.
And so I will say that was the most impactful thing that it just, it was just something. And I didn't, and that's all I wanted to do.
Yeah, it kind of showed you that it was possible, right? Like you seeing what they doing, inspirational and motivational.
But sometimes you're just going to be a product of your environment. You know what I mean? I think, and I just happen to be a product of the time and the environment.
It was all around you.
It was all around me. I grew up I grew up by McKinley Tech pool. So I can remember in the morning hearing PA tapes, walking down to go to the pool, and the lifeguards at McKinley Tech pool had a PA tape. You know what I mean? So it was like, it was just around me. I became, it was just where I was at.
Yeah, and I think that's the beautiful part about just like really being in the city, because they were locked in. You know, we went from soul, our parents, Earth, Wind and Fire, Kool and the Gang, funk, pretty much, P-Funk. And when go-go came out, it was something to call our own. And so if you had big cousins or, you living in the city, and that's what it was. They really wasn't tapping into the hip-hop at that time, right?
Yeah, but
the city seemed like.
But I do think one thing that people don't really realize, and I don't know if this put in context, the power that the Junkyard Band had when you see little kids playing on buckets, making money, and you see them on TV. To me, that was inspiring as well, that I saw people that looked like me, talk like me from my city, literally just found stuff around them, and now they're on TV and playing all over the world
And
and
movies.
on
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Like that was to me. That was I saw. Oh, I could do that. You know, the reason why for me Bugs was the greatest was because I didn't think I could play guitar, but I did think I could emulate Bugs.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I
That was
couldn't
more
play it.
attainable.
Yeah, like playing. You know, where would you learn how to play an instrument at? Where would you
Hmm.
learn how? You know what I mean? But when I saw that, that was the spark to say, oh, I can get some people around our way, and we can get some buckets and go make money too. So that was
Yeah.
a real big thing for me as well because I saw people my age being successful at it.
Right. Right. That's what I'm starting to hear. Of course, it's almost like everybody I talked to banged on some buckets. But we had sects of it was a lot of junkyard bands basically. They was just junkyard bands, junkyard of Berry Farms that had Daryl McCray and had,
Mhm.
what I'm saying, they just kind of took it and ran with it and was
Right.
serious about the buckets. They said they would go find you got to be the certain bucket and you cutting holes
Absolutely.
in like they knew how to
Absolutely.
tune them. They were
Yeah.
really on it. That's not to be taken lightly. The
It's not,
innovation
bro.
and the
Yeah.
engineering.
But it's also not to be taken like the fact that they can sustain themselves and make money and be
Hmm.
productive young kids.
Young
You know what I
kids.
mean? Because maybe they don't know what it was to grow up in Berry Farms in the 80s, in the middle of the crack era. Like,
Man.
for them to do that and make money and sustain themselves, I mean, literally, it's almost, that is still, can you think about it now? A group of young kids can go around and find some buckets, pots and pans, and go make money.
Off a Fat Albert cartoon.
Yeah. Or
That was
whatever it
what
was.
they was looking at, right? They said they
Right.
was looking at the Fat Albert. We going, and then
Right.
and like Wink told me one day, I say this almost every interview because he was like, we laid the blueprint for y'all, and y'all just following it. And I'm thinking, well, essence of this. No, we talking about Crank, like Ignatius say. Junkyard was the first gold band, so we laid that foundation of Crank, Pocket Sock, and Crank, like the name just rings synonymous with Junkyard. But okay, I'm trying to stay because I'm talking to E, so I gotta, I got my notes. So,
Okay.
after yeah, so that was the significance that you were saying that kind of came in between, just being young, hearing it, being surrounded with it, seeing certain things that said, okay, I want to do this, and then me seeing you at the Pick Center. This was another one.
I remember that. Damn.
Schoolyard, Poochie playing
School.
drums. I gotta be with Potential. I'm sure we playing Earl of
I,
Buck
I,
on sound, right?
I,
Y'all
I
came out
actually,
with da.
you got a good minute.
I said
You,
these like,
you
how
got
you
a
like
good,
you be
damn, you
nervous
got,
because I'm just starting. I'm like, oh my god, we gotta play with these, or before or after. It's just like, but you learn, and that's you need to be in that environment to be great. But I remember that moment.
you have a good ass memory because
That's
I remember Ty playing, having a poncho and like a Mexican hat or something. And I can remember looking like, what the, you know what I mean? No, I remember that. Oh my God, bro. Damn, I
yeah,
forgot about that. Yeah. The
yeah.
Pick Center.
And so then in
Damn.
between that time, us still with Potential, me with new experience, we playing with young experience, right? No, and then I'm hearing, we doing bonnets, stuff like
Yep.
that, and I'm hearing about the dude E that it was almost the first star I've seen in Go-Go. Before I seen Funk, before I seen anybody, I seen E, and then I seen him in person, so it made it like, oh, right,
Wow.
and it's like, so now I'm hearing about young production. And I know that's E and the drummer Buggy. You got to see that everybody was talking about that drummer Buggy, right? Am I right?
100%.
Man,
You did
and
your
like,
homework.
yeah,
Yeah. So,
no, but this has just
so
been in my. This is it. Yeah, this is
yeah.
what I lived.
So I will tell you about that was Buggy was the most. I remember hearing about him, and then they saying that we're going to get him, and Buggy was the first music director. Buggy was the first person that took. What's up, cool? Buggy was the first person that took it really serious. He was a young person in high school. We were joking around, and when Buggy would get there, all the jokes would have to stop. Like Buggy
Mm,
was never there to joke around. Buggy was the first person to really show me how to format a show, show me how to lead a band, where to say where you from, First of all, hey, it's buzzing because everybody is calling my phone right now. So please, shout out to everybody. Just come on in.
Yeah.
Um, Buggy was the first person that really showed me that he showed me that it was serious, and he showed me structure. He showed me discipline, and he showed me, and it was mind blowing that a young person my age could take it so serious. So shout out to Buggy, man, because
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Still do.
yeah,
Still
yeah.
do.
No,
I heard
no,
an
no,
animal.
but
Go ahead.
oh my God. But just think it's like, but he was young. Like I
Right.
actually thought,
Right.
no, because I'm gonna tell you what it was in the beginning. I thought Buggy was way older than me because how
Mm.
serious. And then when I found out he was only like a year older than me, I'm like, I remember thinking, why is he so serious about all of this? Like he,
Right.
you know. But I will say this though, we had played a show, and this set a standard for me with Go Go. And Buggy felt like we did not do good, or somebody got out on us. I don't know. And he went off. Like, I'm not here for this. Like, y'all ain't here joking. And this band just did this. He had a discipline, a desire, and a conviction of he was not going to lose. You know what I mean? So just shout out to Buggy and Young Production. Shout out to Keyboard Tony. It was one of the shout out to our manager Al, who really put
Mm.
the money up, funded us. It was one of the best situations I ever had. And believe it or not, I'm still cool with everybody in that band.
Wow.
I'm still cool with everybody in that band
And that's
to
not
this day.
yeah.
Yeah, like
That's not a
yeah,
regular,
but
that's not an easy thing
yeah,
after
shout out,
separation.
shout out, shout out to Young Production. And it was crazy because Buggy was just getting known then, and I would give Buggy a solo, literally, and I would stop and be like, "Hey, I don't know, you may not know who this guy is, but you need to know who he is. We have the number one drummer in the city. Buggy, show him why you're the number one drummer." And then he would just start doing this. Yeah, it was yeah. So shout out to
And
Buggy. He
so
took me
and
back.
you helped, create that part of it too, because you saw the how serious he was, how focused he was at a young age, and how
Mhm.
sick he was at a young age. And so
That
at that
too.
same time, you put that on display. So that's a beautiful give and take reciprocation. But he's still like that
Wow.
to this day, right? I
Yep. Yeah.
love Paul Edwards to death. Like when I
Oh
met him,
no.
Stomp went
He's
cool, coming through here, I'm a foot pedal. Why your joint? Grease that joint, Chief. What you doing? You snip, tighten it up. He not playing with you. It's not. We at little
yeah.
James house. We chilling. No, it's always go to. It's always that. That's why
Yeah.
he's the general.
Yeah,
That
he put
that
something in me
name.
as a young person. Buggy
Yeah,
was the first person, me and Buggy are really close. Buggy is
yeah,
one of them people that I can't talk about him long without getting emotional. Where
yeah.
we are really, and it's not nothing to do with music. We have a very close, but Buggy, for two things he did, he was the first person to put something in me. And he would remember, I don't know if you remember this, he was the first person in my era to go play with a national artist. When he left to go with Genuine,
Yeah,
that was like, that
yeah,
made me say, "Oh, I want that too." I can remember
right.
when he played. I remember when he played on Kenny Alvin Wade show, and
Mm.
everybody in the DMV was getting together. Like, we got to see this.
We gotta
Buggy
watch it.
took,
Damn,
yeah, yeah.
a lot of
Buggy was a
love.
blueprint. Yeah,
Yeah.
like just he showed us that if you stay disciplined, you stay professional, you don't know where it's to take you. Buggy
Mm-hmm.
is Buggy literally, him and Sauce and Coop are probably the
So
most influential people before Ignatius, before Maurice White, before Don, all that. They
okay.
were the ones that developed me to get there.
Oh, okay.
And let me tell you this, and I'm not. This is not an exaggeration. I don't think I exist or got to where I got to without Buggy and Sauce being on me, because they were really on me as a young person. Like I don't achieve this. I have told them this that everything that I have and this house, whatever it is I got, they have a piece of it. And I mean that. And yeah. And
And
Buggy is one person. Yeah, I can't talk about
no,
Buggy for a long
and that's
time.
a beautiful thing to let people know, man. That's
Yeah.
what's missing with a lot of people. Like, yeah, let folks know, man. Appreciate you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You gave me that. You gave me life. You gave me information. You gave me education that helped me further my life. So let me just say this. Back to me calling you for the interview.
Mm.
My promo of you was going crazy. The most
Wow.
kind of engagement, comments,
Okay.
views.
Okay.
That dude, man, love that dude. Man, he was
I,
sick. Optimistic tried to tore the Ibex up. He wanted the best on the mic. He used to tear that mic up. Yes, and guess who? Because rarely comments, Paul Edwards. Yeah, I love
really?
that dude. I
Oh,
love
that's my
that dude
man.
right there. I said, yeah, to know him is to love him, right? This how serious he is. He said, yeah, he know. Oh, trust me, he know. Like, all right,
Yeah.
calm down, bud. I'm saying, yeah, bud.
Yeah,
But that's
so
my
so
man. Like, I
hold on.
understand where you
So
coming from.
yeah, and just without getting into it because it's hard to talk about without getting emotional about Buggy. But
Man,
you know, when I had cancer, he was one of he took it really differently. It's not on music. So Buggy is one of my best friends. I've never had somebody who I don't do nothing for or do business with. He basically came to the hospital every day. He took it so serious that he almost got me put out of the hospital because he was about to beat up one of the doctors because he felt like I wasn't getting the best treatment.
man,
Now I want you to
that's a
think about
real
that.
friend.
No,
That's
I want you to
family.
think about this. He almost got me to we got to be like, bud, okay, bud. Like they're gonna get it. I remember I was asleep and I'm getting the chemo and all that. And I just, and I remember hearing Buggy in the hallway. And I see the doctor walking in and Buggy kind of like on his shoulder and was like, get this up, clean this up. Yeah. And I'm dead serious. No. I'm
Right.
telling you,
That's
he was
beautiful,
on these,
man.
yeah. Yeah.
This just
So
say a lot about his character because most people look at him as the top drummer in the general, but a lot of people don't know him personally or those type of things. Like, so that's what this is about. Like, I like to get that backstory and
yeah.
you put people and you highlight them. Like, yeah, this might be good
And
and great about him, but look, he was here
yeah.
for this man like
Because
that. It's
yeah,
love.
and because the real thing is I don't play in this band. I'm not in
Mm,
backyard. I
how
don't
about
do
that?
business with him. I'm not even, I'm not even around him like that. You know what I mean? Backyard's playing 4 or 5 nights a week, twice on Saturday, twice on Sunday. Like I'm not in the band with him. You would have thought I was in his band the way he was taking it. That's
Right.
why it was different. You know what I mean? Because that's how serious he was. Like he would show up in my hospital room weekly. He would just show up. I
Yeah,
mean, randomly.
I wanted to, bring that up. I was trying to figure out the chronological order of these
Mm-hmm.
events, these different
All right,
places
cool. My
and
bad. I'm
things.
I'm cool. I'm going back. But you should have
No,
brought up
you're
Buggy for
good. You're
sure.
good. So I want to go because I remember you saying, I thought it was Mike. Was Mike there too?
Oh no.
Mike.
Mike Buggy and Eric, the drummer Eric
Yeah,
Carey, they
Eric. Yeah,
were
that's what you said,
from
actually.
UCB.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And you
so
said
them
they was
three.
like blocking the negative people. Like we wasn't trying to hear
Oh
none of
no.
that. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
We on positive vibes. We about to beat this is mental.
Yeah.
Right?
So Eric was my power of attorney. If something was to happen to me, he was the person. And what you think about that? Your power of attorney. Eric
Yeah.
was that for me from UCB. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's serious. That's trust, right? But one of the great things you told me, and I'm not going to tell it all the way right, but they were either willing you out to go to chemo, some type of surgery or something. And you said, I told them, and they was like, yeah, he was like, man, everybody high fiving everybody, like, yeah, y'all putting a superhero back together.
you remember that? Yeah.
I said, man, I
Yeah.
love
So
this dude. That was because I know it's all mental. And it's
right.
like, I'm getting to know you more. Around this
Right.
time, we had swag, and I'm just like, this dude, not to
Yeah. So
mention the one show I did with Optimistic Tribe. And when I come to practice, like, you just learn more about people when you in
right.
situations. But yeah, I definitely wanted to tell the people that story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, that's fine.
So what happened was we were doing a biopsy, we were doing a stem cell transplant, and I
Okay.
looked at the whole team and I said, congratulations, you guys get to do something that you probably wish you could do when you were young. And I want you to think about this, right? They're Caucasian doctors, these are not black doctors. It was an Asian person. And I remember saying, yeah, so you guys get to do something. You guys get to put a superhero back together. So you guys are changing the universe. And I could see them looking like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah, so I said, if you see wires in there, I said, if you're going in there and you see wires, just ignore the wires and do your other. And they're looking like, I'm like, yeah, because the wires is what my superhero is. Just put everything back together so I can get back to the universe. And then one of them said, oh, I see what you're doing. Oh,
Right.
and they didn't cheat to tell the rest of them. But they for a minute like, what the fuck is wrong? You can see them like, what is he talking about? You know what I mean? And I'm having a real conversation. Like, no, I'm a superhero. And and I'll be back in no time. And I'll be back. And then when it was over, the doctor came to me and told me, yeah, I've never seen nobody like you. And she said, you make me realize that it's more mental and the power of the mind. I'm actually still cool with her. Actually, that doctor.
Wow.
Shout out
Yeah.
shout out to Dr. Munchie.
Because she learned
Me
something
and
that day. And
yeah,
that's
me
what
and
it's
her
all
really
about.
cool.
We can all learn something from somebody. Shout out to
Christina, what up?
Christine
Yeah.
Clem. You know Christine?
Hold on. Me and
I'm
Christine worked
sorry.
together.
That's a dumb question because she wouldn't have. Man, look.
Hold on. Me and Christine and her sister Marlon, we worked at the Marion
Oh,
British Youth Leadership Institute, and they were, first of all, I was just talking about them. Yes, I literally was talking about them yesterday to Marlon's husband about how serious they were when we were young. Going back to Wood Buggy, they were very serious, and I'm in there playing. And you can look at these beautiful young females, but they were serious. They were about the business. You know what I mean? So, and me and Christine have a very close connection because she moved to Newark, New Jersey, and Earth, Wind and Fire's percussionist and singer Tigger, B. David Whitworth, live right by them, and they all go to the same church. So me and Christine is connected with that. Yeah, shout out to everybody, and I do have another connection with Newark, New Jersey. Shout out to my old joint.
Yeah, that's crazy, but it makes sense. It's just been happening a lot with pretty much every. The city's so small. But I met Christine through my cousin Jamel McWilliams, who's in Cali working with, he's working with Lotto now, but John Batiste and Alicia Keys, all of them, rock with the best and crank with the rest. And they had a dance group called the Showbiz Kids. I don't know if you remember that. Patrice,
no,
Fairly is Rock Mikey's. They end up having
hold on,
right?
Hold on. I actually taught Fairly when she was young.
Okay.
Yeah, in the Marion British Leadership Institute.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You talk about him. I've seen you talk about how effective or impactful he was too. Yeah. But it's be like full circle. But yeah, Christine. So like you said, they was on it. I'm learning about music and theater, just talking to her every night. That was my buddy. We just talk. He was like, Phyllis, I gotta learn this monologue by tomorrow. And what's a monologue? You know what I'm saying? I was learning that at an early age because of her, because I didn't get a chance to go to Duke. So shout out to them. Christina and Mom. I see her and her husband a couple weeks ago in the Wegmans. Definitely like family. But
absolutely.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Optribe. So one of the questions I was gonna ask is what two things or two or three things did you take away from Optribe in that experience in Ignatius? Now, but you just told me you had a foundation coming from Buggy and Sauce initially. I was say, what things did you learn in that period that you carry out and still use today?
Well, I would say Buggy and Sauce took the Bama out of me. Ignatius polished me and put into my brain that anything is possible. This is not exaggeration. I don't exist without Ignatius. I crack this joke. It's funny, but it ain't funny. I'm more of his son than I can is. He was the person that I've said this, and I'm sorry, I won't say it no more. And let me say this, I can't cool with it now. He showed me how to mentally beat people. Ignatius was the first person that I saw that could disarm you or mentally, verbally, just tear you to shreds without yelling at you. He's a thinker. He's a visionary. Everything that we do and we did in Optribe came from his brain. He was like the coach. He was like the coach, and we were like the quarterback in the, just the whole visionary of how you're going to present yourself, what are you going to stand for, most of everything that I do or I have achieved, I reference back to what he taught me when I was young. So as far as Ignatius, and I'm still cool with, literally, I still see him or talk to him once a week. I will not go a week without him.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So he, so with Ignatius, I don't get to know how to be in the room and present myself to Maurice or anybody, Donnie or any of them, without being around him. And I took on his swagger of I belong in any room. He took me. He kind of he. You know how Obama was like, oh, when you meet these people, you realize they ain't that good or they ain't that spectacular. He was telling me that as an 18-year-old. And he was the first person to tell me that I had a gift. He told me I had a gift, and my gift was way beyond anything that I can do in DC. And it took a couple of years, and then I believed him. And then we saw what happened. And I pride myself. I tell him this all the time, that I'm probably his greatest creation. I've said this to him. Shout
Yeah.
out to his kid.
No, I
But yeah,
really feel close to him too. You know, it's just conversation,
mm,
right? I guess and like-minded
absolutely.
energy. And I love I
Hmm.
can too. But it's
Yeah,
just something, you know, I guess me and Ignatius just go a little deeper or on something, you know, some
yeah,
terms. You would think,
yeah.
you know, I can would like you just like kind of like you saying,
No,
but
I mean,
wealth of knowledge.
well, let me say this. I can't have it in him. He just is not as patient as his father. All
That
the
makes sense.
attributes, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I can't gonna tell you really quick, and then we're gonna be over it. It's not
yeah.
gonna be a long
That.
conversation. It's not gonna be drawn, and
Slim, get my point. Get my point.
yeah.
You-
And
you
not
right.
only is he gonna do it, but he's also gonna tell you, and it's not gonna be. It's gonna be aggressive. Even if he's being nice about it, he still sounds aggressive
Still
when he's
aggressive.
doing it.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? But one thing you got to respect about ICANN is he's telling you how you see it, he's telling you his truth, and he's telling you what the result's going to be. His delivery is, I tell him this, it's horrible. It's the most horrible delivery ever. But he ain't lying to you. He's not playing with you.
Hmm.
And sometimes you got to learn how to take it. So he has
Yeah.
all of his. He's a mixture of his mom and dad. He's a mixture of his mom and dad.
Oh, okay.
And we actually say that a lot. You know what I mean? His mother would tell you straight out, you gonna get it. You know what it is. You know, Egg, you know, he'll give you a couple of chances, you know what I mean? But ICANN has everything that his father has. He's just not as patient as his father.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? They are the same. I just got the patience, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but ICANN ain't with the long stuff. He's not. It's
Yeah.
crazy because it's so crazy because Donnie Simpson is one way, and his son DJ is like ICANN.
Hmm.
Very blunt, direct,
I can
you know
see
what I mean?
that.
And whether people like it or not, people need to realize in the real world, that's how they are.
Yeah.
It's not good. They're gonna just tell you directly and you move on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Like
ICANN
feelings and
delivery ain't the best.
emotions. We at with a level that you know we really don't have time and we can't afford some of that. And then you got
Mm-hmm.
different energies and you know fire and water and different
Mm-hmm.
ways people was raised or approach things. So you know every individual is different. But no, I love our can of death. We really don't. I know all that about him, so I never get offended or nothing.
Yeah.
And like he don't really come at me, but I know what you're saying. Like you know, everybody know on Facebook, like he just gonna go, and it's gonna ruffle your feathers, or you're gonna see the truth in it. Because most of the time, there's some truth in it.
No.
It's not gonna be
Most
far off if it's not all the
hold
way
up.
true.
I would say 95
Yeah,
percent of it is the
yeah,
truth.
that's what I'm
His
saying.
delivery is horrible. You know what I mean? It's horrible, but he's not lying to you. And in the real world, that's what it is.
Okay,
Because hold on before you go, because he don't
good.
say nothing that Malachi don't say. People just
Mm-hmm.
take it differently because it's I can. They both they just take it for whatever reason. They take it differently. I'll
Yeah.
let you figure that out.
I mean, he about 6'3", 4, and he's a big dude too. Like, so, you know. But yeah, nah, I totally agree with all that. So we doing optimistic. See, I be
Yeah,
having
OP
these
Trap.
conversations. I ain't tripping off all that. I was gonna go
No,
into that. You
we
know,
can
just
have
how
some OP
that.
Trap talk. No, let's have some OP Trap talk.
Okay,
Let's have
look.
some.
We can
Yeah,
go. We can
yeah,
go as long as we need
yeah.
to.
Yeah.
So yeah, saw you with the schoolyard, young production, and now we with Charlie. I'm playing drums for 2 years at the most, 1.5 maybe.
What a run.
Um,
Hey, that might have been the best 2 years of anybody's life ever in go-go. So as bad as
yeah,
you may make it seem like,
yeah.
I mean, I get it. I know what
No,
you're
I'm
gonna
saying
say.
when I even came, I was just, you know, and I hadn't been playing for 2 years, and Buggy was playing for, and so we on the show with y'all. First and foremost, let's get to that. So
Okay.
Ed Snipes, we love you, Christine. We love you too. I wanted to say that, but Ed Snipes TV, you know, he always want to stir up the pot, talking about what was better, Sunday or Tuesday. I don't know. I know they both was great. I was at both of them,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I was too.
I would come, you know, I would come through on Tuesday, and let me just tell you, Tuesday,
Mhm.
I told on another interview, the steps was packed. You couldn't even get the steps had a party going up to the joint.
Mhm.
I can't say our show was that packed every time, but we just talking about quality, maybe not quantity. I think they both had their own impact and even style, right?
Mhm.
And I know we love Buggy, and I know. All right, can
And
we do
okay,
this? Go
yeah,
ahead, go ahead,
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah, yeah. But hold on, Backyard had the home field advantage being uptown. I think that
Mhm.
was really the only thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
If people were from around that area, we were from Northeast and Northwest, you know what I
Right.
mean, versus Southwest and certain parts of Maryland. That was really the only, if you want, because everybody did not feel comfortable coming up uptown or certain
Right.
places at that time. But you know what I mean. But you know, what a time to be alive, bro. That's all I can
Man,
say.
that's all I'm saying.
What a
Let's
what
not
a
even compare them.
time.
Both of them was great. Whatever you
Yeah.
think, if you was at both of them, whatever you think was great. So I'm at Rittenhouse, right by
Mhm.
4D. I can walk to the Ibex. So that's where I'm hanging and slanging, right? So that's why I was up there, because them
Yeah.
niggas, we gonna see backyard. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that's kind of how I tapped into back, and I already knew
And
y'all.
yeah, and it was a rivalry because it was a rivalry with Backyard and Junkyard at that time,
Oh yeah,
and it was definitely a rivalry with Optribe and Huckabucks. And
yeah.
I don't know how y'all felt about us, but we did not miss the words or how we felt about y'all. You know,
The bad part was we was fans, and we knew that y'all was more advanced than us.
mhm.
But we had to come in and fight was Goliath, man. So let's
I
just
don't
Malcolm
know.
X Day,
I don't know if it was David and Goliath. I don't want to say that. You know
man.
what I mean?
Malcolm X Day, y'all had the African dude. My memory. All right, what we're gonna do, just how you said it. What we're gonna do is we're gonna show you. We got my man Kuti, whoever, and we're gonna show you how the African drum and how this transferred Malcolm X Day, Anacostia Park. Yeah, like one of the first times. I just said, bad. And then, we was whole opening up, and we stayed to watch. And I was like, these two, Peony was like that. Scooby always stood out. Taco,
Taco.
everything about y'all band. Tony Reds, come on,
Rest in
that's
peace.
LL Cool J and Go-Go. Then E, and I'm just like, who is this dude? But you was my star. That's the dude again. And I was like, they
Right.
just, and I can just big, and that's what I'm saying. I had to play before that at first, but then whatever political reasons, because I'm gonna just say I don't think we ever felt that the talent, like I said, y'all was more advanced. Arvell, Delvon, whoever it was at the time, the music,
Mac.
you were more advanced than Joe in every position. But we had Charlie Roy, whatever we had, and they
Y'all
knew
had
what,
hits. Y'all
yeah,
had hits.
and that
You
was
know what I
just
mean?
it.
And yeah,
And we just did
and
what they said and executed to try
yeah,
to battle, but we get off the
yeah.
stage like young, this and no. And then one Unifest, they put us after y'all. Now I probably shit 3 times that day. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah,
I hope I don't drop sick.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a rivalry. And let's not forget Georgia Avenue Day as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's the
yeah.
thing.
That,
The DC Boys and Girls Bennett Road Boys and Girls Club, man, we played basketball. That's the thing people don't understand. We was friends, but when it comes to that stage, we gonna try to stay a hold of, and it's just like that's
it
just what
was
it was.
always
It made
it was
everybody better.
it made everybody better, and it was always tough because we felt like we were not getting what we felt like we should have
Yeah.
got, especially with 1580. And I guess at that
Mm.
time, people looked at y'all as why I don't got that. You know what I mean? But as you move forward, it was never a day where I didn't appreciate what y'all did. But to be honest, we did hate y'all. It was definitely a different energy when we were practicing before a Huckabuck show. You know what I mean? It was
Redskins
definitely.
Cowboys.
Oh my God,
To this
boy!
day, I know I
Oof.
told you this when we were being practiced. And he'd be like, "You got a Huckabuck in here." Tony Reyes came in. I think he came to one practice. Like, I can't. What are we doing? But every time we was in Atlanta, every practice, or if he see me, Rick and Los, fuck you, and fuck.
Yeah.
How y'all doing, bro? Because it's like it's still there. Like, I can't believe, but it wasn't our fault. And that's what I'm saying. We were looking in admiration at y'all at the same time, but we had to execute and do the take out the order that we had.
I
But
get
you're
it,
right,
but boy,
though. The politics of it is crazy, man.
yeah. Well, but I just think it was a competitive spirit because
Yeah.
as much as I love Pedro and Pure Elegance, it was a competitive thing with them. But I think everybody, it was just that's what it was.
Yeah.
It was just it was a competitive thing. But I'm not gonna lie, it was different when you feel like you better than somebody, or you just as good at it, and and you don't get it. But once again, what a time to be alive, bro.
What a time. I mean, because
what a time.
Man, Metro World, man, every day, even when the videos was coming on the box. Oh, okay.
Oh,
right.
hold on. Hold
on.
I posted that video on my IG recently.
Yeah,
I have that video.
I seen it in your face. He said, man, I got to come up here and do this, these battles, you know. And that was the thing because, like Pure Elegance had Scotty, they had people that was proven or had been around too. Well, who is these Bammers? Like, where they come from? You know what I'm saying? And Charlie told me, he said, man, I got y'all because you didn't play in church. I got you because you didn't come up. You know, you were new and raw, and I could form this into a sound that I wanted. Right?
I can remember having to give y'all that video, give y'all that award, and with Metro World, and you know, back in that, it was like 93 or whatever. I was getting $50 an episode, so I had to make a decision. Do I not get this $50 back in 1992, 93, or whatever year, 96? You know what I mean? And walk out. I had to take the 50, and I remember walking in PA Palace, and I'm gonna post a video. I was like, congratulations to the $100. They won the the great year. I kind of just handed that shit off, you know what I mean? Man, I was pissed about that, bro.
Yeah, no, I saw it. I said, yeah. I mean, I just know the, you know, we always talk now, but yeah, that's just what it was. Like, we really looked at y'all like, I mean, people I talk to now, like I said, even I posted the joint for this, it's like, OP, they tear up this and that. Nobody was really getting on that comparison because we knew that. But look, like you said, Pure Elegance. So it's like, I feel like after we had our battle with y'all, next we had Taj Mahal was the battle with them. Huggerbucks, you know, Pure Elegance, Huggerbucks back. And Pedro wanted blood. I'm thinking about taking my own life. It's like, are we going, this about to be a fight or rap beef? I don't know these dudes. Like,
hey, homie. Hey, bro. Do you remember the DC Army when he got in the casket and did that?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm like,
okay. I think they're ready to go home. My bad. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, like, bro, like when you say I can remember like, okay, I'm gonna tear this nigga ass up too. I remember going around and then seeing him put himself in the casket. It kind of had that shook me because I knew him since Superior Funk. And I can remember him doing that and getting that cast. I'm like, okay, nigga, like you taking this a little bit too far, bro. Like,
right. Yeah, but that was, I just think that's what made everybody better. I remember a story on Winksy and them saying, you know, on the bus going down the road, man, y'all be putting we got a crank out there. You know what I'm saying? Y'all make us step our game. And so I just think everybody did that, and we lived by the crank, like, band members, loyalty, all that. Like, it was like a game, and it's crank on nothing.
What a day. What a day.
Man, the 90s.
You was in your own, you was in one band and that was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did I get that? Okay, so what happened was Heartbeat was hosted at first. Heartbeat ended up getting with Gerardo. It was a song called Rico Suave. And then he did Dog Eat Dog, another thing. And he told them, y'all should get E to do it. So he came, he suggested me, and he kind of handed it off to me. So I remember me knowing Jimmy, and I ended up hosting Metro World because Heartbeat was like, give it to E. He just, he randomly chose me for that. So shout out to Heartbeat because that's my man to this day.
Okay, so segue from that, how did you get in there with Donnie?
Okay, so there's a few stories. So it was called America's Next Top Jock. So there was a contest because at the time, Huggy Lowdown and Chris Paul had left to go to Tom Joyner. They had left when Donnie went on vacation. Donnie goes on vacation. Let me say, I don't know this to be a fact, but word on the curve is that Tom Joyner called and offered the bag, and it was a different bag, and it was a $250,000. And it doubled their salary and put extra on it. You know what I mean? So what happened was they had a contest, and I do think the other thing was I had a relationship. The people in Earth, Wind and Fire who I had worked for and was still working for part-time back and forth, they had a relationship with him as well. And I do think certain people vouched for me. I don't necessarily know who it was per se. I will say I probably think that he probably reached out and was like, well, what type of guys, what type of guy is he? And, because I heard that he did do research. So it was America's Next Top Jock. I made it to the top 10. And if you made it to the top 5, you get to be on the show and spend a day doing it. I made it to the top 5. And at that time, it was 4 girls and me. So deep down, I think they were looking just to add a female, and they were having a contest, and I kind of came in and threw all that. I threw it all out of the window and went. So when I came in, I was really prepared. I had basically my thought was I'm gonna do what Chris Paul used to do with funny songs and Redskin songs. So I kind of had a whole plan of somebody need to replace Chris Paul. I'm like, no matter if he's here or not, somebody got to replace Chris Paul, what he was doing with the jingles and all that. So I have focused more on that more than anything because Mike Brooks was in the mix already. They had already chose Mike Brooks. So what happened was I came on. I don't know what expectation they had for me, but the city really got behind me that day. So it was like everybody had a day. It was top 5, and you got a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I got a Thursday. My day was a Thursday. So it was the day before the Friday. And I'm like, oh no, I'm like literally, I left everything out on the floor. I'm like, man, I got every joke. I started writing. I had jingles. You know, I was more of a local guy who loved journalism anyway. And I knew what politically what was going on. I knew what was going on in the street. So when I came in, I kind of executed that. And he was like, well, we need him here. So even though technically the Angie Corley won, he brung me on anyway and was like, you know, and what happened was, word on the curve is the demand was like, you know, you got to have him because he adds something locally. He's in a go-go band. And so he ended up adding me, and so I got the job. It was, you know, when the day when they made the announcement, you know, Angie had won, but they was like, hold on, and then I ended up winning, and I ended up getting the same amount everybody else was getting. So you know what I mean, and that
was that before G was at KYS.
I think G might have been. He might have been. He might have been there and was gone. But yeah, but this.
Yeah, I was just wondering, was you like a pioneer? Because that's a criteria to look at. Look, he's this guy in the city.
Yeah. So, well, let me say this. Well, let me say this. A morning show format is not looked upon as all the other time slots. Maybe a weekend show or a nighttime show. The morning show drives everything. Don, you got to remember, he's Donnie Simpson.
Right.
He averages 800,000 to 1 million people a day listening to him. That is so. It was definitely different. It was, you know, can you know, was one thing that I think I wanted him on was the fact that, and this happens to me a lot in life. People may have a low expectation of what they assume a District of Columbia DCPS student go-go musician have, and when you can go in and have these intelligent, articulate political conversations, parental conversations. I think that they were so blown away by how I could talk on any subject and have conversation. He felt like, oh, he really does add something. So you got to remember with Donnie, you know, when you have advertisements from like, NAACP was the one, AARP was one. Their demographic is a 35 to 60-year-old. Like you got to be able to reach a whole bunch of people. Yeah. And I don't think they thought that I was going to be able to do that. But what happened was I was with Earth, Wind & Fire. At that time, I had been around Earth, Wind & Fire for 3 years. I had around the real world. I had traveled. I had been in different spaces, networking. So people may have thought, oh, he was the guy I remember from the Go-Go Band. But for 3 years, I did not even live in D.C. I wasn't even in the District of Columbia.
Yeah.
So I learned life. It was literally college. Yeah, college. I went to college.
Right. So because that was one of my questions. I didn't know if you went to college, but see, I got two for you. I was going to ask you if you study journalism, like because that's kind of what you kid media, right? Journalism.
Yeah. So I have a degree in broadcast journalism. So
okay.
So I have a degree in that.
Okay.
But I would say the greatest college that I went to was Ignatius Mason.
Real life. Yeah. No, but it just
no. Yeah. Life as a having a professor who showed you what the real world was going to be and how to survive and thrive in that. And then the other one was Earth, Wind & Fire and Marvy's White. With Marvy's White, it was a totally different thing. And I'm talking about from a business standpoint, from a professionalism standpoint, and then as a musicianal standpoint. Because whether people want to acknowledge this or not, that man was a real genius. He was like literally, he was a genius. And when I got to see everything that was going around there, it took my mind to where certain things I just could not accept for myself no more. So that was a school within itself. And as you know, You don't sustain yourself for 30 years making $200,000 a show from 1980 to 2025 from the 70s without having a strategy, a level of professionalism, an expectation level for you. So,
Yeah,
college, so the degree that I have is one thing, but the degree in life and who you're around is something else. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
No, that's
And
what I was
so,
saying.
yeah,
But
so the
that
greatest
Earth,
school I
Wind,
ever
and
went
Fire.
to, the greatest school I ever went to,
Right,
by
exactly.
far, is
Right.
Earth, Wind, and
Application,
Fire.
real world application. You telling me in theory and in books and all
Mhm.
that's good to have in the back of my mind, but what's gonna give me the instincts and know how to, do it in real time and all the situations and variables that could come up in any
Yeah,
situation. So I
yeah, yeah.
understand that.
But also knowing the game, knowing
Yeah,
what it is to be a black man trying to thrive in the entertainment business, how to conduct yourself as an intellectual, intelligent, knowing you can act, how you can act. You know what I mean? Like, so just from
boundaries.
that, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But you got to realize this: they are the greatest band ever to live, led by the greatest band leader ever to live, and I was mentored by that. And the things that I got from that has led me to do everything that I'm doing now.
and started as a drummer. God
Yeah,
rest his soul.
yeah, yeah.
Right. We
Well,
play.
yeah, he started to. Well, to him, he is by far the most. And I'm trying because you've not asked me this question, but he was the most intellectual thinker that I've ever been around. He
No, that's
could
important.
really, yeah, he was. What I mean, he is an intellectual. Like Ignatius is an intellectual, but
Mhm.
what he would break down, what he would do, how he would approach it, I've never heard any human being nowhere in my life speak of it, present it like that, think about it the way he thought about
Wow.
it. Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about.
musically,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Would you like to ask me musically or no? Or because I don't want to dictate the conversation.
No, I want to know musically, but that's why I was saying I'm
Mhm.
trying to get the order together. How did you get with
Right.
them?
So they were at the Wolf Trap, and I had snuck backstage and told them, "Hey, you
Love it.
guys have that great album out, but you need a promotional team." And I made up a lie saying that what happened was Scooby was signed for a little while with Elektra, and he was working on their street team. So I had worked with them, and Scooby had worked with 98 Degrees. Like whenever certain albums would come out, they would send it to Scooby House. So I pretended that I was with that, and I kind of made up a whole thing of I had already did it, but it will be smart for you to do it on your own, and I mean, kind of independently, and hey, you can just deliver it to the store yourself. I understood SoundScan, I understood barcodes, I understood BDS spins, and
Mm-hmm.
they were blown away. And the other thing was I knew so much about them musically. I was just a
Mm-hmm.
huge fan of them. I kind of manifested that. So that, I snuck backstage. Jabari McDavid was like, hold on for a minute. So he goes in and he gets me backstage. I meet Philip Bailey, Ralph Johnson, and Verdine. And Verdine had talked to me about, oh, I did go-go music, and I was one of the soundtrack directors for Good to Go. Then we end up having a whole conversation about go-go, where it should
Mm-hmm.
go. Then I started finding all these other things. And then at the end of it, we went to go see Backyard the next day. So we
Wow.
go to Mad Chef. We go see Backyard because they wanted to see Buggy. So they
Mm-hmm.
wanted to see Backyard. But they wanted to see Buggy. They were like, we need to go see this guy named Buggy. They
We've heard
kind of knew
about
Sauls, yeah, but we need to go see this guy named Buggy. We went out. We ended up going there. We went to go get something to eat. When it was over, they was like, "Do you want a job?" And I'm like, "Really?" They was like, "Yeah." So, and this was on a Thursday. They was like, "You leave, quit your job, leave next Friday, and come to LA."
it. Mm-hmm.
And I was working for the DC Department of Recreation, and I left, and I went to go work with them, and then that's how then I end up obviously everything else,
Yeah.
but now from a musicianal standpoint, right? I wanted to, because it was my dream to work with them, but I wanted to learn the process. I wanted to learn the process. And I wanted to see what their practice schedule was like. And I wanted to see what the day-to-day things. And the first time I went to practice, I was like, oh my God. It blew me away. I go to the practice and I see a schedule up there, and it's 8 hours on there. Load in, you practice, lunch break, practice. So I'm like, hold on. I know they're not practicing for 8 hours today.
4
And
days,
they like,
5
look,
days a week.
5 days a week. My brother, they would go over the schedule. So their set was an hour, 15 minutes. They would go over the set, stop, do it again, go over the set, stop, go over the set again, stop 3 times, go
Break.
eat lunch. Break. You eat lunch.
2 more times.
Go over the set again, go over the set again, go over the set again. And if you didn't like it, you would do it again.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hold on, bro. I'm like, hold on. So that's the first thing. And then they did it every day. So I thought to myself then, because Maurice had a saying. He would say preparation and opportunity meets in the middle. So he would always preach the importance of preparation. So in my mind, I'm thinking, y'all been playing these songs for almost 30 years. Don't y'all already know why y'all taking it so serious? But you know what I mean? The level of expectation, some of the things that, yeah. So, and then I remember thinking, if I went home and told somebody in Go-Go, Earth, Wind, and Fire practice schedule, who would quit the band and who would stay? And I thought, if you would quit the band, I don't want to be in the band with you no more. That's kind of like how I looked at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just their regiment. Also, the way Maurice would phrase and look at music. He had a strategy on what he wanted the records to be. He had a strategy on what the role of falsetto would be. So he had a theory of if you sung the hooks. Oh, your dog's messing this up. This is a great story. You missed it.
No, he sung the hook.
Okay.
Falsetto, go back to that.
he felt like high pitch would get your attention better. So he pretty much equated falsetto to noise of an ambulance. And I said, could you explain that? And he said, whenever an ambulance passes you, don't you just stop and look, right? And I'm like, yeah. He said, yeah, that's what I'm trying to get. He said, I could sing a hook a bunch of ways, but falsetto will get your attention a little bit better. And he equated it to you mentally already trained to respond to high pitched stuff differently. And I'm like, oh, he started breaking down his strategy of music. Because if you listen, really Philip is doing a lot of falsetto on the hooks. Let's go through songs. After the Love is Gone, Maurice is singing, After the Love, Paul, September, Body on City. And he stopped breaking down his strategy of producing. And I'm like, oh, so think about that. We've never been around nobody that could lay down the structure of a song like that. The structure of what he thinks is going to get your attention.
Right.
Because
bring you in.
Yeah. And then he started. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But he thought about how high pitched stuff would get your attention. He talked about why he did that. And I want you to think about that. Who would equate a hook to an ambulance? I want you to think about that though.
Yeah.
Who would equate that it would get your attention? Like, because you like, well, and then after that, I stopped learning stuff. I remember when I heard Lil Wayne's song, wee, because I'm about to say what else he told me. He said sometimes you don't even gotta have a words or melody. You just gotta have a melody. Think about the Lil Wayne song. Wee. It's not no words. We think about September. Body, say that you remember.
They gotta lie. Right? The oohs and the ahs, right? Because people in different countries don't know English. So that part of the song they can automatically sing to and remember.
But also the theory of the high pitch thing. The theory of the strategy of that will get your attention.
Yeah, and it does.
So I sat back
like, I love all Philip Bailey, all that. Yeah.
Oh, hold on, bro. Let me say this. After he said that, I'm like, that's what the fucking genius is. That's what I said to myself. No, because who would think that? Who would say, if I'm going to do a song, this is going to be the strategy? Then he started explaining to me that he did Rotary Connection. So do you know who Rotary Connection is?
I remember the name. What did they do?
Rotary Connection was Minnie Riperton's band she was in before she went solo.
Okay.
What is Minnie Riperton known for? High pitch. Falsetto. What is Denise Williams? Denise Williams known for? high pitch, falsetto.
So he worked with all them.
He produced. I'm
He
like, hold
produced
on.
all-
That's what the fucking genius is.
Damn.
Structure. Yeah. Because sometimes, what is the strategy behind the song? And that's when I said, hold on, this is something else. This is something completely different. And he changed my mind. He changed my thought process on everything. And the same detail he thought about making a song, he took that in practice. There were times that they were practice on where they were just going to be standing at, where like where they was going to be walking at.
Right.
It was the hook and what is our movement when we're
Where we're gonna
going.
be at certain
Pause.
point.
All
No
right, pause.
music.
How many go-go bands you think that? Be
Man,
honest.
look.
Be honest. Be honest. Pause. And that's when I said, "Oh, this is different. I'm with a real genius over here," and
Yeah.
that changed me.
Yeah. Wow. Man. Yeah, that's cool, man. We talked a little bit about it, and but never in that detail. And I'm glad to know this about Maurice White now,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that definitely as a young, I'm old soul, so I'm growing up P-Funk,
Yeah.
Confunction, Larry Graham, my father, I'm just like,
And
that's in the house, New
and
Birth, Mother's Finest.
and,
But look,
and
they not one of my father's favorite bands, and one day he told me that I was a little shocked. But I love horns, and I think I love falsetto pretty much. That's one.
well, you want to know why he's a genius?
Wow.
Because we never not gonna play his music. He is the Mozart of his time. Marching bands. When you're first learning that, you're probably
okay.
learning.
Man, that's a fact.
Hold on, because the mark of a real genius is you create something that did not exist, and everybody is following this years later. So he's been dead for almost 50. Just think about it. Will we ever turn on a urban adult contemporary program and not hear their music? Ever? Out of all them bands that was there, we not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Because I do think part of the issue is, do go-go bands got a strategy? What is their plan? What is the strategy?
A lot of them just want to perform and get some little, of course, in the beginning, we want to get some girls and stuff. But in that process, we learn to love it, even if, we loved it at first. And that was just a byproduct. But people want to go out, drink, and talk to people and country clubs. That's what me and Sean call it. And it's just like, so you're not taking it serious. And it's just like it's getting worse. The bar's lowered, the standard, because you don't have optimistic to worry about or pure elegance or the Huggabucks or, you know what I'm saying? You got some bright spots, but no, nobody's thinking that they caught up in
guess what my number one issue is?
What's my number?
That too. But you want to know what one of my issues I'm dealing with now with this Frank Crusader thing? This is a boop, boop, boop moment. I got promoters telling me, why don't y'all do what such and such doing or such and such? Put a little Rasmus in your set, put a little Northeast in your set. If you did that with Ryan Devon, you know how much money you would make? And I got to be like, nah, I'm not doing it. And then they say, hey, nigga, that's why you're not making it and your man over there is. Now, I want you to think about that, Chief. Now, think about that. I've had that conversation. Hold on. I've had a conversation 3 times. Do this, that. Man, you could get this. And I'm saying still, no, I'm not doing that. The issue is, it ain't enough people saying, man, I'm not doing that.
Right. It's almost like some industry stuff, right? It's like we following this status quo. And what's making it? What's your perception of making it? Because I've seen people who really made it. And so it's hard. I can't take them glasses off. I can't unsee that. So you're not gonna sell me on that. I'm a hold out until it could be right. I'm gonna stay a purist, right? I'm true to it for real. No disrespect to nobody, but some people go along. Most people right now, they try and get the check, they get the little bag, their little outing. We older. I get to go out. I love playing the congos, but get some little attention, some love. We love and attention. Because guess what? What people don't realize when you ain't on top and hot, that love and attention starts slowly dissipating, and then it's back to you.
I've been there.
You go, there you
I've
are.
been there.
So who are you when you're by yourself with none of that? Yeah. Yeah.
I've been there, homie. Hey, I've been in Lissen. I've been not in Lissen. I've been in Donnie Simpson. I've been not on Donnie Simpson.
Right.
I've been with Earth, Wind, and Fire. I've not been with Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Exactly.
Trust me, I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been
I
there.
know.
And that's why this go around with this Crank Crusader thing. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna stick to my guns. And if it don't work, it don't work. But be clear, it has been offered and told to me on countless times. Won't you do what such and such and them do?
Yeah.
Like, and then when I got that,
it's almost like, why would I do what such and such and them been doing? That was the thing with us back in the day too. It's like, all right, if we play Optimistic hitting a certain song, we hit it too. We gotta change the beat. If we decide to hit it, we gonna do it different. That was important too. We not going. It just was like, nah. Even though the competition was there, we not gonna bite. We know we ain't gonna do that. We gotta do ours a little different. Or like I said, not do it. That's really the answer. You know, when Backyard got Hello, just don't do Hello no more. Huggerbucks had Sprinkle Me, just don't do Sprinkle Me. Like when
Guess
Optimistic
what?
is doing Optimistic Love, I won't just say it. Don't touch it. Leave it alone.
Hey, guess what? We were playing Sprinkle, and we was like, that's the end of that.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta be real.
We definitely did, yeah.
For whatever reasons. But all right, come on, let's change gears real quick because we're getting a little serious. Something I never did. You know, I'm trying to do my, I actually prepared because I'm talking to you. A little joint called This or That, right?
Okay.
And it's kind of like it's not like an IQ test or EQ test, but I think these joints are it gives people a perspective of who you are. So I got 5 of them, just this or that, pick one or the other, right? Pocket or socket?
I'm going to take a socket because I can do more in a socket.
Okay. You can explain if you want.
To me, okay, so a pocket is Mr. Magic to me, the basic boots, the boo-boo.
Right.
A socket could be all a variation of a bunch of things. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and lately, and even in the Crank Crusaders, I tell them, I'm anti-pocket. I'm anti-Mr. Magic. Do not.
That's regular, right? That's what everybody don't want you to do what they doing.
Yeah. And bro, you know what I was about to say something, but but no, socket for sure.
Man, hey, whatever you want to say, man. Like we keep it positive, but hey,
truth. No, I can't say it. So no, I'm not doing that.
All right. I'm trying to be good too. So
I got you. Yeah, I got you.
I've asked Nikki Bonds and a couple people because it was always even this discrepancy with pocket and socket, but now I think it's a general consensus. The socket.
Yeah, I don't know why.
High
hey,
Congo.
hold on.
Anything with 1-1 code, right? That's the pocket. That's 1-1 code.
To me, it was never confusion, but I guess other people, it could have been non-band members because anybody in the band know what a pocket is. Put it in like everybody know what it is, but I guess sometimes for conversation or click or for conversations, but I was never confused on it.
Right. I don't know, just like it seemed like it was a Maryland DC thing too. But these terms was being developed. You don't think that?
Hold on.
It seemed like I remember a socket, so we had progression and regency, and we called that slow joint the deep socket. And it might be, but it wasn't really the 1-1 code. And then pocket be like, give me a pocket beat. You might be playing Give Me That Beat or some other high Congo beat and tighten up or whatever. Everybody got their names. But it seemed like I used to hear that and kind of bought into that. In them early 90s, over time, it's like, nah, socket is, like you said, that joint it's going to move a little bit more. Pocket is the final breakdown. You could go from a socket to a pocket. Y'all tell me, where y'all from? Where you want to really get across?
It's Mr. Magic. A pocket is Mr. Magic. It's basically Mr. Magic.
Let's be clear.
Well, like once again, it was never confusing for me. So and if anybody asked me, I could have just told them. So
Yeah, and that's the thing. Let's get a consensus right together. But all right, so say socket, Tupac or Biggie.
So I will say this. A lot of times, I will say that I see value in both of them. I think one of the things where we messing up at now is that we feel like we gotta have one or the other. Man, some days I like chicken. Some days I like chicken. Some days I like steak. Some days I like rice. So it varies. But my all-time favorite MC that moved and touched me more than any human being in my life was Tupac. Tupac.
Okay.
I felt like I knew Tupac. I felt
I think
connected
we
with
all
Biggie.
did.
I
And
felt
I
connected
love
with Biggie
Biggie
because
too.
of I felt connected with Biggie because of Chucky Thompson.
Right. That part
That
too.
was more of my connection. But I appreciated both of them. I love both of them. But I was a Tupac, nigga. I was a Tupac. You know what I mean?
Wow.
No, a homie, nobody to this day.
Okay.
If I need to get pepped up, I'm putting Tupac on.
Right. Yes. That passion,
I can't.
right?
What up? I can't.
All for the
Just so you
spectrum.
know, I can't. Just so you know, we talked about 15 minutes about you. I hope you missed it. I hope you heard it
Yeah.
and didn't miss it.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Starting to get my point. Nah. What's up, I can? Thanks for coming through, bro. I thought you was
Love you,
gonna say
bro.
Biggie. Probably because you didn't hit Biggie verses or something. So this is good. That's what I'm saying. I just did this right before your show. I think I'm gonna do these same joints for everybody because it kind of give you now. I got a deeper understanding of you with that because I
Yeah.
feel the same way about Tupac.
Hold on. I have a Tupac thing. I got Dear Mama tatted on my arm for my own mom. So you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, like you know, Tupac connected. You know, Tupac was the first person I felt like was my friend that I heard on wax. You know, when I was younger, I was looking for inspiration and a connection. It was, you know, nobody connected with me more than Maurice White and Tupac.
Man, that's crazy. Like you said, you could be going through the worst, put them on. You could be feeling good, put them on. But definitely, when I was going through, it's something about his music that would make me just be like, you know what, it's something.
Oh my God,
you know, like about Marley.
Tupac was the first.
Right?
Let me say this: Tupac was the first person I cried over that I didn't know. He's the first person I cried for. I didn't know him. You know what I mean? No, I cried like I got emotional. That hit me.
And I thought he was gonna live.
Yeah.
Right.
He was the first person I cried for. Yeah. He was the first person I cried for. He was the first person I cried for that I didn't know.
Right. You feeling crazy? Like, what am I on this? God damn, Pop. Thought you was gonna make it. Flip. Yeah.
No, I actually felt like I lost something. You know what I mean? So I actually felt he was the first person that I cried for that I'd never met.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you. All right. So before I cry, sorry. New York or LA?
I like both. I lived in LA. So I have a lot of affinity. But it kind of all depends on what you're trying to do. Both are media capitals, but if you're looking for more media, you would go to LA, you would go to New York. If you're looking for media and more entertainment and movies, you would go to LA. So it depends on what you're looking for. As far as media, radio, television, you would go to New York. If you're looking for more movies and everything else, you would go to LA. So it just depends on what you is. I lived in LA. I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was a different vibe. New York, I didn't live there, but I stayed a lot of time in Newark, New Jersey, which was near there. So so it kind of all depends on what you know.
I understand that answer because you're a thinking man. But I'm just saying, if I threw that to you, on the surface of everything, I understand business aspect, of course. That's why I asked you, because I'm pretty sure you did both, right? But if I just said New York or LA
to live,
right, like, or just your favorite, like you said, one day New York might be my favorite one day, but like,
if I had to go somewhere to live, it would definitely be LA.
Okay.
So let me say this. Fun fact about me is I love the mountains. I love the nature. I love outdoors. Hey, Jill, I love you, baby. So I love the mountains. I love cabins. I love, nature. I'm really connected with it. I would choose LA. But, once again, if I was going to live somewhere, it's one thing. But if I was trying to accomplish, it all depends on what I'm actually trying to do. So, but New York, I don't know about right now. I would stay away because I'm gonna tell you something about LA that everybody may not know. LA has their own rules and their own laws.
Mm-hmm. And so I've talked to people. I mean, I've been to both, but never really on official business. A couple times, but that Hollywood, we're gonna do lunch and we're gonna, that's real.
I lived there.
More so it seems like New York, they really getting to the business. LA is that more relaxed. Yeah, we're gonna do it. I'll have my people.
One thing about LA is it depends on who you know. So I was there moving around. I was moving around with Earth, Wind, and Fire and had more access when living there.
Oh, of
I
course.
actually lived in West. So I lived in West Hollywood. So I lived in LA. You know what I mean? And then
Mhm.
I would spend some time in Carson, California, with my man Jabari and Janelle. So I kind of moved around LA for a while. You know what I mean? LA is a place that if you know people and you know what you're trying to do, and
Exactly.
you got to know people in LA. You
Yeah.
got to know
They
people.
say you can't
LA
even go
ain't the
out to a
town.
lot of these spots unless you know
Yeah,
somebody.
yeah,
Been on
yeah.
that list.
But in New
Yeah.
York, in New York, you can kind of bump into somebody and start talking. Hey man, you know what I mean? I remember
Okay.
when I was spending time. I remember when I was in Newark, they were always trying to pitch me on something when I was in that New York area when I was up there. Yeah. So they're more entrepreneurial in that area.
Right.
So it all depends. Once
Right. Right.
again, it all depends on what it is you're looking for.
Okay. Yeah. Of course. That's why I think these joints good because it's like like I said, I kind of designed them for you, but I think this could work with anybody with showing, kind of
Mm.
certain preferences that make you
Good
kind of
thought.
get a picture of a people. Thanks, I can appreciate
Mm.
you, Chef.
Love you,
Like,
bro.
nah, the part, a special
Love
part of
you, I
Frank, man.
can.
Hey, we had a great time, and appreciate you. And I found out I can was Chuck's grandson down there. I never knew that. That was crazy, right? I never knew that.
Well, yeah.
And
Shout out to Uncle Greg.
yeah,
Shout out to Uncle Greg.
Uncle Greg. I told Cootie
Yeah,
had him
that's
on the phone the other day. I was talking to Greg. Yeah. Greg Pete,
yeah, yeah.
right?
That is I can biological uncle. That is his
Yeah.
mother's sister. That is his mother's brother.
Yeah. We had a great convo the other day. I sent them the
Okay.
link actually.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
now gotta get Wiley. We kind of been going back and forth on social media, but I gotta get Wiley on here too. So
Mm.
LeBron or Jordan? Jordan or LeBron? Let me put it like that.
Yeah. Well. Once again, I mean, it kind
I
of
know.
it's
It's
crazy because
hard.
it's it's so crazy. I had the Washington Nationals owner in my speaking to my kids today. Shout out to Paxton Baker, the minority owner, and one of the kids asked him that. Once again, I'm going to say both for their time. It's hard to compare people when they were not
Yeah.
in the same generation.
Decade.
You
Yeah,
know what I
right.
mean?
Generation.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah, context, generational, climate. You know what I mean? Some things you have to live and experience. You know what I mean? What Jordan did,
Exactly.
Jordan revolutionized everything. He revolutionized tennis shoes. Like just think about that. When nobody had tennis shoes, they wouldn't even think the idea of probably what could be done on a national level without
Mhm.
Jordan having tennis shoes. So to me, both. So what I respect about Jordan is his business acumen, his will to win. What I respect about LeBron is the fact that he took his 5 homies with him and have empowered them to have a seat at the table in the NBA from a business perspective and Hollywood and everything they do. So they're both kings, and it all depends on what lens you're looking at it from. Both
Mhm.
from a black business perspective, they've laid a blueprint that other black athletes can follow. Now, whether all depends on what you like, what you don't like. But they're both. I'm going to say both. And if you're looking at it from an athlete perspective, I'm going to say both because they did
Mhm.
not play in the same era, but they both had the same impact on their era. That's almost like somebody trying to say, "Hey, compare Chuck Brown to Lil Chris." That's like
Mhm.
stupid to do that.
It is.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
why
it
would you
is.
do that?
It is.
Yeah,
And I
because
like
the
that.
older person,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
because the older person's going to say Chuck, the older person's going to
Right.
say Chuck, and the people from his generation are going to say T.O.B.
Because
It's
they
it's
saw
kind of
Chuck,
like
you're seeing Lil Chris. But I don't
sometimes
really be
some
go ahead.
no, sometimes these debates be pointless. It don't go nowhere,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and sometimes you don't put it in this context, and I think that's what it is about with LeBron and Jordan. Two different eras, two different situations. But I will say, Jordan walks so LeBron can run.
I'm glad you made that point. So here's my whole thing. I'm not into we the best and this and that. Everybody, you're a rapper, you think you're the best. That's what rapping is about, most of all.
Mhm.
Aside from the poetic side, it's a brag thing. It's like so um competition in general. Like, of course, optimistic and Huckleberry. It was like an era, like it was a close, it was
Yeah.
like a close match fight, right? Optimistic and pure elegance, Hucklebucks and pure elegance. But it's almost like comparing Hucklebucks to Chop, right? For the era and the time, it was different. Or you know what I mean? So my daughter is just she loves any type of debate and this and that. She's a LeBron
Mhm.
era, she's in the sports real hard. I grew up with
Mhm.
Jordan, never much of a Bullets fan. been to a couple games, you know what I mean? But never a Wizards fan really. You know, I watch, you know, whatever. But
It's
I was a
it's
Jordan fan.
crazy.
I wanted to be like Mike. So let me just say, and I've been
Good.
watching the NBA players' perspective and some different people, and sometimes it just kind of shed light on it, just like you said. So Jordan did things that so LeBron can do, and now you just made me think. I wonder if LeBron could have did the things if he was. You see what I'm saying? So, and it's just like I tell my daughter, you had to live it. I'll be in there watching the Bulls doing push-up. They be losing half the game
Hey,
and
homie.
pull it out, but the
Hey,
charisma.
homie.
All the things he brought to the game. And I love LeBron
Hey,
about
homie.
the philanthropy and all that stuff he doing. But it's a tough thing to even compare. But I'm gonna be old.
It's so crazy you said it because my daughter is a journalism major now at Hampton. She's going to be a senior, and I have to sometimes. I remember, and it's crazy that we're saying this. Malcolm Jamal Warner, who I knew through Earth, Wind, and Fire because he was a bass player, rest in peace. I was explaining to him before he came to do a Q&A for us how big he was, and I was saying I was explaining to him he was like Drake of young black actors. And they still didn't get it. And sometimes when you have these debates, if you didn't live it, you can't understand it.
Right.
I could not convey to people in my program how big Malcolm Jamal Warner was and the Cosby Show was. I was trying to explain to them how big he was. And they was like, yeah. Then I had Laura Winslow, Kelly Williams, who's my homie. She's from the area. I had her come in. I was just trying to explain to her how big Family Matters was. As hard as I did, they couldn't get it because it just wasn't their era. You know what I mean? And sometimes if you didn't live it, the debate can only go for so far because you would have to live it and really experience. And this is my last one about that one. I tried one day in my journalism class last year to explain to him how big Michael Jackson was in Thriller. I was trying to explain to them that he is Drake, Lil Wayne, Kendrick, all rolled in one, probably a little bit bigger if you rolled them all. And they looked at me like, and I'm like, I literally told them Thriller is the greatest video. And the only reason why you have videos is because people saw what he could do with it and they didn't get it. So sometimes if you don't live it, you can't understand the context is if you did not experience it.
Right.
So you know what I mean.
So
that's
realize that MTV and that they wasn't playing black videos. What he had to go through to get them to play certain things and what the team had to go through, right? But you look at it like money. You know, money appreciates this and that. And you know, they be talking, be like, yeah, I was getting $500,000 back then. Now that would be 20 million. It's kind of like that. It's like when you look at it, you know, in context to the time, it's just a different thing. And I would just love for youngins to understand that and be able to see that. And like, okay, I kind of get what you're saying. So, you know, maybe
guess what? But guess what? But here's the thing. The thing about life and this whole thing on earth that we do, sometimes you don't get it if you didn't live it. You don't get it if you didn't experience it. Sometimes you just didn't get it. And whatever it is for you, it's going to be for you. Because, you know, do people really know how big Chuck Brown was? Or do people really know how big Junkyard was in their era? Yeah. Do people really know the power Junkyard was? What they really are, no matter what it is. And sometimes they just won't get it. Because you missed it. You just missed it. You know what I mean? Hell, I'm telling my kids about politics, about Marion Perry. They just don't get it. So, you know, from somebody
these young
somebody that has a daughter who does media, I deal with the same thing, bro.
Yeah. So I want to talk more about that. I just saw it. I see it on my feed. Like E is over here. Dean, I be riding by there, you know, sometimes. Like, see if E up in this joint and that new great facility they got. And like you got some great kids coming out of there that's possible that they're gonna move to great things. How did you get into that? How do you is that the main
they already
thing
are moving.
Yeah,
so I created So in 2000,
that's a beautiful
thank
thing.
you, my brother. In 2017, I decided that I wanted to create, after I beat cancer the second time, I said that if I beat it the second time, I'm going to do something that I love, and I'm going to be a real asset to my community. I'm like,
Mm.
you know, when I didn't know if I was going to make it or not, there were days that I thought that I do enough to get to a certain point, and that is to get to the other side, eternal life. I started having these real intellectual conversations, and I remember praying, saying that if I get out of here, I'm going to go back to my community, and that's what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to waver. And then the next thing that happened was they like, well, you're going to beat the cancer. So I started a program in 2017. In the beginning, it was just to develop young Black kids communication skills because I noticed that it was a language barrier of the way people engage and had conversations. From that, it turned to communications, to journalism, and then people start partnering with me. So Paxton Baker, the minority owner of the Washington Nationals, was the former president of BET, former vice president of Viacom that owned VH1, BET, and MTV. He partnered with me. Donnie Simpson partnered, and Allison Seymour. So those three people partnered with me. Since then, since 2017, I have sent 51 kids to college,
Wow.
34 full rides, two to Ivy League schools, all from a Department of Recreation program. We
Mm.
have won an Emmy. We've won an Emmy, and we've won a Dateline Social Justice Award. This year, we were the first group ever to partner with the Smithsonian. We hosted their largest festival. So it's something called the Folk Life Festival, which is a 6-day festival. They've never partnered with no other entity to be the voices and the moderators. So my students in there um, have done that. Yeah, so we're partnering with them. We're partnering with NPR. We're partnering with WAMU, and there's a few things coming. And I would say Monday, Joy Reid in the NAACP is coming to have a conversation with my kids, and it's basically for young people from east of the river. And 34, but 51 have gone to college. Magic Johnson met one of my students. People probably know this. His name is Jordan Williams. He did a Q&A. Magic stopped and said, how are you so good? It don't matter. I'm going to pay for all of your schooling. And that kid is actually going to Hampton in a few weeks, and he's going. And my daughter goes to Hampton, so my daughter goes to Hampton, and she leads the scripts department. And I met my people who know the story. I became her dad because she was in my program, and she had some trials and tribulations. So I took the role. So yeah, so 51 kids, 34 on 4 rides, two to Ivy League school. This year, 7 of my students are graduating from college, and 2 are from the Ivy League school. Shout out to Timmy Teo Aliola in Columbia, and shout out to one of my students in Bucknell, and shout out to the one in Lafayette, London Jones.
Man, come on, man. Let's clap it up for that, man. I'm proud of you, my brother.
Oh,
Giving
thank you,
back
sir.
to the same community that helped to
Yeah.
pretty much build you, right? That gave you life in certain aspects, Marion Barry. That's a beautiful thing, man. Like I really, when I see stuff like that, it warms my heart, and I'll be like, man, that's all right. That's my baby. He's a good dude, though. I knew he was a good dude, but like I didn't know you went to school for journalism and stuff like that. I'm just remembering that you did Metro World and some of the, you know what I'm saying, and Donnie
Mm-hmm.
Simpson. Like, so it's just like coming back, like, yeah, of course that's what he's doing. That's why I figured you might have went to school for it. And so now that's a
I actually
beautiful
have a degree.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, one more time. It's still going. They won't stop. It's just love for Solly Williams, y'all. E from OP Tribe. Bootsy Vegas in the building. Only on the Chief and Go. But do you have is it any way for other kids to sign up? Do they, is there any information you can
Yeah.
give?
Yeah, well, we're basic summer youth employment, DC Department of Recreation. If anybody who sign up for SYEP, there's also a winter SYEP. You can just sign up. You can go to the DOES or summeryouthjobs.com in DC. You can sign up. Like it's for the open. I do recruit kids, and I'm looking. This year I think I'm going to really expand it. I'm looking forward to a possible partnership with Office and Cable. That could be coming. But yeah, you can just sign up. But there's a basic. Some of you, I don't, anybody can sign up. If you have an interest in journalism and you want to go to college, I have a route for you to get there, and I have a route for you to get there for free if you really want to get there. The last 4 years, every one of my seniors have gone on to college. Everybody that was in my program that been with me for more than 2 or 3 years, they've all gone on to college, and I would say 80% of them have gone for free. Other than that, they may have to pay like 20 to 30%. So No, it's wide open, and I love it. I love it. It's been one of the greatest experiences of my life. It has been, but I will say that yeah, fulfilling. But I will say that in this space that we do, there's a divine power powering in this situation. There are divine forces that come. Like, you can't think about Magic Johnson calling you to give scholarships. You can't think
Right.
about the Nationals calling you, giving you scholarships. You
You
can't
got
think about building relationships with,
put in the
every year
work.
something just happens out of, every year this happens. So,
Okay.
I mean, a lot of divine intervention. But I will say, on my perspective, there's a long-term youth developmental strategy in place. So the results come because there's a plan in place once your kid get in there.
Okay. Damn, that's crazy. I never played my intro, man. It's like I'm setting it up a different way. See, I need to come take the
Mhm.
class, but no, really though, like I'm down too if helping in any way I can help too. Like that's just one of the things I want to get to that I ain't tied all the way into. So please, if I can be incorporated in any way, I'm down to give some time for that. And I'm just showing my bad journalism skills. My last this or that was Neil Long on Sanaa Lathan. I know I just
Mm.
took you for a loop.
Man, why can't I have both of them?
Man, that's what I be saying. I be like,
Why?
I try to see what that be like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Hey,
if you chose for me, I wouldn't be mad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm the
Yeah.
same way. I can't eat a damn, I can't. Yeah. Yeah, that's the man, cut that out. I don't know. I just thought that'd be
Mm-hmm.
something to tickle the medulla oblongata.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man. But that's definitely good, man. We done put in overtime, but I figured it would go that way. Trying to
Mm-hmm.
think what else. Oh, I did have one more question. Since you're working with the kids and you've had such
Mm-hmm.
a interesting, diverse career, how would you, God forbid, you didn't wake up tomorrow? How would you
Mm-hmm.
want to be remembered in the community?
She, yeah, well, people talk about legacy and stuff like that, and that's all great. I really believe this. I don't think that's up to us to tell. I think the people would tell, or people would decide that for us. When Chuck Brown died, the people decided he was the Godfather. When Lord Benny died, people decided what he was. When Maurice White died, people just, you know what I mean? I think sometimes we can't think about that. I don't think about it, and I don't think I don't think we can dictate or decide that. The only thing is, I hope that people will say, "Man, he really tried to make a difference in his community, and whatever resources he got, he tried to use it to empower other people with it." But when people start thinking about that, I don't think we can, because I've done so much stuff. It all depends on what context you know me from, or
Mm-hmm.
what them kids in my program don't know nothing about no go go. They don't even
Right,
literally if their parents don't tell them, they don't even know that. I got
right.
people who only know me from being on Donnie Simpson as Bootsy Vegas. Then you got people who may know me as E and be like, "Are you Bootsy Vegas?" So I've done so much. I don't know, I don't know, you know what I mean? But I don't think when you start thinking about stuff like that, I don't think it's up to us to dictate what our legacy is going to be. I think the people are going to decide that you should live your life the best way it is. You should try to make the impact the best way you're going to do. But you can't be thinking about what people's perception or how they took it and all of that. You know what I mean? And so I don't never think about that. And I had to deal with that when I didn't know if I was going to live on that. So I don't think about legacy. The only thing that I do think about, probably more than anything, is do the people that empowered me and helped me get there know how much I appreciated them? And that's like I can's father. I think I've done a great job of telling him. I tell Donnie. Other than that, as long as the people who helped me know how much I appreciated them, everything else will
You can't worry
that's going
about
to
it.
happen. But yeah, you can't worry about it. And I don't know if that's smart for people to be thinking about how you're going to be remembered. Like, we don't know how long we're going to be here, and we don't know what we're going to do in the next part of our lives. So I don't think I'm done yet. No, I want you to think about this now, where I'm at in my life. I play with Raheem Devon and the Crank Crusaders. We've been traveling a lot down the road. I'm doing stuff now that I never thought I would do, and I get to be in different spaces. And a lot of people in this Raheem Devon situation, especially with listening to the music we're doing, they may not have been checking for go-go, but now they might be doing it because of Raheem, and they get to see me. So I'm, you know what I mean? Like when you think about it, I'm still doing stuff that
You're living in the
I've never
moment.
done before.
You're
Yeah,
living in
never
the
the moment,
moment.
but I'm doing something. Yeah, like my story is, like when you think about, like I say about the last 2 weeks, I would say about 2-3 times a day, somebody's either calling me or tagging me in a video of the summertime song. That has never happened to me before. I've never been in a situation where my song has been on the radio after all these years. That is new for me. That may be, you know what I mean? And even how that happened, and shout out to Jazzy Jeff and Bethel, that was their idea. That was not, that I didn't want to do it. That was Raheem and
The
Bethel and
joint
Jazzy
you
Jeff
sent
and
me.
my idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The joint
Yeah.
you sent me.
So
Okay.
even right now, there are people like, oh, he's on the radio that didn't even know, or have not heard me. So I just think now I'm in a new space, and I may just be getting started.
Still breaking through, right? And breaking through
Yeah.
markets initially, getting eyes on you that never knew or thought or even, yeah. So the sky's the
Hold on.
limit.
That would have never been checking for me. They would have
Without
never,
Raheem.
they would have never been introduced to me.
Mm-hmm.
Or they may not have been introduced to go-go in the form that we do it.
Right.
I'm talking about from outside people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the
Because
crazy
Summertime is a classic. So even the way it was presented, like, oh, and then, now let me look deeper.
This is the crazy thing about this Raheem Devon thing. And I've never had this before in my life.
I forgot that in the intro. Damn. My bad. Crank Crusaders.
Crank Crusaders. There are people that travel from all over the world to come see us when they see Raheem is playing somewhere. There are these 3 girls that travel from South Carolina, no matter where we're playing at. Wow. We played in Hampton last month. They were there. We were in Roanoke. They played there. We was in Baltimore. I got people there are people who show up just to see us play now. That has never happened to me before.
And that history you got with all that great tutelage, you know how to stroke them and keep them coming.
Yeah, but also they get to, and for me, I'm like, damn. I remember they came we played at the MGM, and they came, and I said, y'all drove down here again? Man, do y'all want something to drink? Right. So just saying in general, I am experiencing things that I've never experienced before.
Wow.
In my life. So I don't got time to be thinking about no legacy because I'm doing new shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. And this is just funny and a great lesson for me. Because like I said, I'm like, okay, he's teaching journalism. I think he probably went to school for it. I don't prepare. Like, I know certain things. If I might jot down a couple things just so I won't forget. Because sometimes, like, I meant to say something about this. But those are those generic, like you say, why don't you be like them over there? Those questions people ask, and I try to throw them in. And I've been exposed. Because it's like,
yeah,
I know exactly what you mean. Like, if somebody asks me that, I'm always going to have this abstract answer of like, well, my story's still going. Like that's up to the people.
It's still going.
So, man, that was good. I love it.
Yeah, and sometimes when you start thinking about the end may come on your way.
They come, right, exactly. We feel it, man. We are kindred spirits. Like,
I ain't talking about the end, bro.
And all that stuff is tough.
Man, look, man,
I ain't trying to speak none of that into look here. Don't
ask me how I want to be remembered. What you mean? Is it over? Oh, right, I don't know yet.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's
what I mean. So something
I got trying to be a journalist, and people always tell me, like, how you do it. So I'm trying to, like, all right, that gotta have some stuff to eat. I do like the this or that though. I might use that again, but I'm transparent.
I think it's great. I think it's great to spark conversation. So ain't nothing wrong with that. But sometimes, when you're learning about people or you're learning about situations, but to me, I don't get people to be like, oh, so my legacy, and you 40 and you're telling me what your legacy is going to be.
That's almost some arrogant type stuff, right? Some vanity type stuff going on. See, I want people to think of red roses and drum beats when they think of chiefism and comedy. And he was such a, get out of here.
Because,
let me show you.
Because truth be told, I don't think I've been successful so far. I don't think I've been as successful as I should have been or I could be.
Right.
I think I'm on the pathway to get there. I don't think
Exactly.
I've reached to what I could execute and achieve in life. I
Yeah,
think I'm
you're on the
finally
precipice.
getting there now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm trying to
yeah,
tell you, I agree
yeah.
with that
I've not been.
100%.
Yeah, I have not been successful. I don't think my life in music. I think this journalism thing has made me successful. I think
Hmm.
the Donnie stuff, but in music, I don't think I've been a success.
Right. I can dig it. Certain aspects that levels you want to attain, and that hasn't been met yet. So, and that's what keeps us going. And having a mindset like that is the only thing that makes you keep going. Because either you're gonna think you washed, or you gonna have like still got something in me. There's still something in the tank.
Yeah.
And so
Hey,
yeah, man, I
homie,
respect that. Real
homie,
talk. Yeah.
homie. It's still something in the. And people gotta remember this. It's still something in the tank. And the thing is, as long as you don't have that defeatist attitude and throw your hands up like, well, I could have did, but now, hey, dog. As long as you stay in the mix and stay in the game, you got a shot. As
Mm-hmm.
long as you in the mix of it and you stand around, Steve Roy is showing people that right now. When you look at what he's doing with Still
Fact.
Familiar,
Fact.
Steve Roy stayed in the mix. Steve Roy kept it moving.
Right.
Sometimes you just got to keep it moving and stay in the loop. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And just in general, being a defeatist attitude, that's not who we are anyway. Not black
Right.
people. 'Cause we've been defeated 100 times. You know what I mean? As
Right.
long as you don't throw your hands up and
You're
throw in the
successful.
towel and you stay,
Right? Pretty
you're
much.
successful and you got a shot.
You got a chance to
Hey
be more
homie,
successful.
hey
That
homie,
Steve Roy
we
thing
got
is
100.
definitely facts. Before I kind of met him and talked to him, when they switched it over, I'm like, oh, what are you gonna do with that, this and that? And then you got Love and Willie, and I went to see him, and I was totally impressed. And so consistency
He's
builds momentum, right? Just keep moving,
yep,
keep going. It's gonna be tough, it's gonna be hard, but if you keep going, you got a shot. Facts.
right. Yeah. Just keep it moving. You know what I mean? Don't have a defeatist attitude. Stay in the mix. Keep creating. Keep being open-minded, and you don't know what's gonna happen. And Steve Roy is a prime example of that. You know what I
Facts.
mean? You know what I mean? And Steve Roy didn't let people put whatever they thought his limitations in
Mm-hmm.
that situation
Right.
was going to be.
Yeah.
He took the bull by the horn. You know what I mean? You know what I
Facts.
mean? Now other people who had that same opportunity kind of threw their hands up a little bit. No. But and I get it. Life happens. But to me,
Mm-hmm.
as long as you stay in the mix and you stay in the loop, you don't know what's going to happen. Truth be told, I was not with the summertime thing. I didn't like the idea at first.
Mm.
But let me tell you something. I love it now, baby. I
That's right.
love it now.
That's
You know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I
75,000
do.
spins later, 75,000 spins and
Hey,
streams and download. I'm loving it now.
you hear that from a lot of people. Like, some things that you're known for have been great or didn't like it initially, as it'll grow on you basically. You're like, you know what?
Right.
Because we are our
Yeah.
own worst critics. So, and we have our perceptions, just like we saying. But let me follow through with it. It's
Yeah.
sometimes like I said, I did this interview today. I really don't know the cat. He was recommended by a good man of mine. So that was on the strength of that. And it's like, man, should I be charging? I gotta do my own interview, And I followed through and I said, Mama, do it for the culture. Somebody wants to talk to me. How about that?
Right.
Somebody want to come talk to me. And we did it. And
Chiefy.
they were so excited and I was so excited. Do it.
Chiefy.
Do it.
Nobody has asked me to do podcasts. You know how many Google podcasts out here that nobody's never, yeah. I'm not invited to nobody's podcast.
Wow.
So,
and maybe that's why I'm
so,
telling you. The response was like, man, I'm definitely tuning in. Man, E, that's my man. This that good dude, the dude sick on the mic, boom, boom, boom. Some of the other stuff. But I just know I've watched that journey. I've been there in the trenches with you and watched that journey. I actually really in the trenches. I did one show at Optimistic and we talked. And I really got a deeper understanding of who you was. I remember going home and saying, man, that dude E, he knows something. Like, it's serious. Like, you don't know outside looking in. Like, yeah, this dude really know music and really got to understand. Then Earth, Wind, and Fire, and I would just hear these things. And so I was just like, yeah, that's a story to be told, man. And to beat cancer because twice. Because, when it comes
now,
back, monster.
Yeah. Now, the most crazy thing about anything we talk about, the most crazy to me right now is the fact that my son and Joey's son is on the same basketball team in high school, and they're really close friends, and that is mind blowing to me.
Wow, that's so cool.
Look, and look,
That-
I be talking to Louis Joey, and Joey just be looking at me like, "Okay, Mr. Williams," you know what I mean?
right.
I'm like,
Like you
"Nah,
don't
you
understand
know,
you had to be there.
you know,
Right? They wasn't there.
like I used to go to Joey's house with his mom and dad, way out Silver Spring, way out, like
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
I knew his grandparents, you know what I mean? Like I had to go through that, you know what I mean? So it's crazy how life turns out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like my son and Joey's son is really cool.
That's cool. That's actually cool, man.
Yeah.
That's cool. I dropped a potential band what you wanted from the Ibex the other day,
I,
95, 9,
oh,
10, 96.
damn.
You was
You
rock.
went
Yeah,
back.
that was my band. But I wasn't there at the time. But I mean, my man E was just talking about E, and he was like, man, E like that. He could get up there with any band. Certain lead talkers,
Right.
they do what they do with their band. But when somebody can come to another band and kind of turn it up and do a thing,
Right.
that kind of is a testament to their individual ability overall. But
Right.
this has been great, man. I definitely got to get out of here, and I
Two
think
hours, bro. We did
it's
we
2 hours.
did 2 hours.
Yeah, me and Nikki Bonds the closest. We didn't even do 2. We was close, but around this time. But I figured this would be it. I made all my plans. I put everything on hold because it's certain
Mhm.
history we got, and it's just a certain
Right.
understanding of like your
Man,
personality
thank
and your
you, man.
journey. But
Man,
nothing what
thank
I
you.
expected. I think it was even better. And I think
Well, thank
if
you.
you ain't here live, the replay, people can take jewels and stuff from the Chief and go. That's what I try to get on and really
Right.
touch on some stuff. I really try not to get into the negative. I got some little notes. Yeah, we could have talked about
Hold
the
on.
list. Yeah,
Hold on.
man,
But here's the thing. All of them were positives when you look at it on way how it turned out for me.
this is a lesson.
So
It's always a lesson.
none of it is a negative. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Because I've had a great, productive, amazing life. Like
Mm-hmm.
if it was the end, I wish I could just say thank you. You know what I mean? I
Right.
achieved everything that I wanted to do. I've traveled the world. I've been to all 50 states, Canada, Jamaica, and all this from the same place everybody else been. So, there is no negatives. It's
Yeah.
not none of them
It's
situations where none of it, whether they think it is not a negative.
yeah.
It's never,
All
you know what I mean?
perspective.
It's not a
But
yeah,
in a sense that, it's been talked about before, it was years ago. And
yeah,
that's what people like though. Actually, that most people
yeah.
are going to tune in if we talk about that. But I just kind of stand on a certain
I appreciate that. I appreciate
yeah,
that. But let me
so
say this though.
if we talk
But let me
about
say
it
this though.
only if it's going to improve life, it's going to give us the
Yeah,
juice,
yeah.
we can take the juice away.
What I will say, sometimes it's good to get both sides of the story.
True.
Because in a lot
Oh,
of them
sure.
situations, nobody's never asked me about it. They have just taken whatever they thought the story was from a certain side, and it's been that, you know what I mean? And I think the other is about no matter whatever stories were, I'm all cool with all of them. Whoever it is. I don't have an enemy in no band I've been with. I still talk to everybody in all the bands I've been with. So, you know what I mean? Whatever they think it is or what they assume it is, look how it all turned out. Tribe's still doing reunion shows. All the people that they said, you know what I mean? So, but I
Right.
do think sometimes it's great to have the conversations because sometimes people want to get it off their chest. And sometimes you don't know if people, how long they've been holding it in. And when I think of Buck, I think about that. You think about people who are not here who wish they could have told or we would know how they felt about certain stuff.
Okay. So let's do this
Yeah.
because there's some other questions just about going from Optribe to Lissen stuff I'm a little confused about. And I got a certain perception of how I saw it. And I'm hot, man. I had to turn my air off to keep the sound. But so let's come back and just one day we can rehash and kind of get into
Whatever.
the OP to Lissen and what happened because
Mhm.
I don't know either side of the story. I remember that
Okay.
turned on 95. I remember hearing about it, and I know both of y'all. I know you a little bit more, and like I said, that's just what people go for. So I'm not here to pile on. And
I get it.
But it's like you said,
No, I get
everything
it.
could be learned from. So and we talked about much greater stuff or different things. So
Absolutely.
let's reconvene, man. I definitely appreciate
All
you,
right,
my
man.
brother.
Man, thank you for the invite. Thank you for allowing me to have the conversation. Thank you for sharing the jewels. I appreciate it because, as I told you, people don't invite me on their podcast. I'm not
Yeah,
invited to nobody's go-go podcast, so I appreciate it, man.
yeah. And maybe you get some calls later. If not, it don't matter because
Probably
I'm
not, but
trying to
I
tell you, the
appreciate it.
people know. People love you.
Okay.
Trust that.
Well, I
Trust
appreciate it.
that.
They do?
I
I appreciate it.
And like, so yeah, we're talking. Like I said, if you need some help, or if I can offer my services and expertise and knowledge at that rec for however big or small, I'm definitely available. I'm down the street.
I appreciate it. I
Yeah.
appreciate it, bro.
All right.
I
Much
appreciate
love,
it,
my
man.
brother.
All right,
Until the
man.
next
Thank you, man.
time.
Thank you, everybody. Listen.
Yes, indeed. Peace. Man, good man right there. Solly Williams, E of Optribe, now known as Bootsy Vegas, doing great things. I forgot to crank Crusaders in my intro, but yeah, he been running with Raheem, and like he said, torn and experiencing different things, and that's always good to get out of your nest, right? Where you've been all of that environment that you're used to, and everybody's used to you, and you're used to them, and they know what you're gonna do, what you about. Just like these expectations of you, or they sometimes when you somebody too close to you and they grew up with you, they can't see your greatness. So when you go other places, people recognize that, like, okay, because then you're standing out, you're a little different, and they're not familiar with you. So sometimes that's a good thing because then it can feed into your ego, into your confidence, and it ain't the same thing. It can make you push forward and motivate. It ain't, your cousin or like negative people. Not that everybody in the DMV negative, you know what I'm saying? That's anywhere. People that's used to you and you're used to a certain routine and thing, and oh, you ain't gonna never boo boo boo. Yeah, you say you keep talking about that, this and that, and a lot of people not visionaries, and they not. Everybody ain't made to do certain things. So traveling is very important. Got to get out of here. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I never played my intro because I do the 30-second countdown in the beginning now, and I'd be forgetting because the conversation we jumps right in. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna play the intro and the outro like I did with your blast a couple weeks. But make sure y'all subscribe. Chief and Go each and every Thursday at 8 p.m. We having crank convos with different people from the culture. My cousin Cornell Stevenson asked me last week, am I gonna only talk to go-go people? And no, I actually have people outside of go-go that I am planning to get in here a little soon. And like as Joey would say, we're gonna do that a little soon. My cousin Jamel, that I mentioned earlier, who's doing creative directing and doing big things with some of the best artists in the world. I plan to get him on, and he was here. He was home actually a couple weeks ago, but I mean not a couple weeks. He was home for like a week. I don't know if he left yet. So I was gonna go sit with him. My father, Felix Stevenson, Big Chief, who played on The Wire, who painted the album cover for Larry Graham back in the day, and went to acting school later and got a lot of interesting stories. Sid DC native. The reason I am who I am, looking at his sketchbooks and trying to play his bass. So that's gonna be an interesting show, right? And I'm definitely been talking to some ladies to get some more ladies on here too. But yeah, we definitely got people outside of go-go. That's just a couple that's fresh on my brain. And y'all stay tuned. We're gonna bring y'all all that. Subscribe, tell a friend. We're gonna keep it cranking for the culture. All right. So now intro and outro.
Welcome to the DMV. Jumbo half and half. Mama on your chicken wings. Home of crank, funky jumper, feel the heartbeat.
Chief and Go.
It's a vibe. It's a vibe. On 95, I pledge allegiance to the crank. Oh, as long as I'm alive.
Chief and Go.
All right, y'all. Peace. Till the next time. Y'all stay out of trouble. Be good, man. Do the right thing. Spread love. And